The loss of just 2 cities in the Donbas could trigger the collapse of Ukraine's entire eastern front. Prominent Western military analysts are increasingly sounding the alarm, stating that Sloviansk and Kramatorsk are currently the most critical strongholds of Ukraine's defense in the east. Their potential downfall could trigger a cascading chain reaction of events that would lead to the total destruction of the entire defensive line in the Donetsk region, which in turn could become a pivotal turning point in the war, with consequences reaching far beyond the borders of the region. And now, more information in our report. My name is Yevhen Sirov and this is the Glavred channel. Subscribe and leave a like. Let's begin. Russian occupation forces have been focusing their main efforts on these 2 directions for a significant period of time now. Sloviansk and Kramatorsk have long ceased to be just cities. Today, these are formidable fortress cities that control the last approximately 20% of Donetsk region territory that still remains under Ukraine's control. Military analysts note, if they are lost, Ukrainian defenses in the east will be vulnerable to a rapid and large-scale breakthrough, since there will be essentially no other comparable or equally fortified strongholds left in this region. Sloviansk holds not only strategic but also powerful symbolic significance. It was this city that Ukraine liberated from pro-Russian militants back in 2014, and for the Kremlin, its capture would become an important propaganda trophy. Kramatorsk, on the other hand, serves as a key logistical and transportation hub through which supply routes, reserves, and the coordination of the defense of the entire agglomeration pass. Losing control over these cities would deal a serious blow to the supply system of the armed forces of Ukraine in the east. Sky News military analyst Michael Clark states directly, if Sloviansk and Kramatorsk fall, other positions in Donbas may not hold. According to him, these cities are the last major defensive strongholds, and losing them both at once would call into question the stability of the entire eastern front line. That is why, according to Western sources, the Russian command is prepared to expend enormous resources, personnel, and equipment in order to gradually wear down the Ukrainian defense in this area. The expert points out that both cities are situated on advantageous high ground and are well fortified, which makes storming them significantly more difficult. The Russian army is forced to act slowly, using a war of attrition, massive artillery shelling, airstrikes, and advancing in small infantry groups. Such a strategy does not yield quick results, but it creates constant pressure that, over time, can undermine the resilience of even the most well-prepared defensive units. Ukrainian President Zelensky has repeatedly emphasized that the battle for Donbas remains one of the toughest and most decisive in this war. According to him, it is here that Russia is concentrating its largest forces, trying to achieve a strategic breakthrough. Amid fierce fighting for other cities, particularly Pokrovsk, analysts emphasize that Sloviansk and Kramatorsk hold systemic significance, as their fall could affect not only the local situation, but also the overall configuration of the front. Western sources note that for Moscow, these cities are a kind of key to full control over the Donbas. Their capture would disrupt Ukrainian supply routes, force the armed forces of Ukraine to stretch their reserves, and create conditions for a deeper encirclement of other defense force groupings. That is exactly why Russian troops are trying to take full control of roads, railway junctions, and communications, in order to gradually isolate Ukrainian units. Thus, the battle for Donbas and the fate of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk may prove highly decisive for the further course of this war. Whether Ukraine manages to hold these cities will determine not only the stability of the Eastern Front, but also the overall strategic balance of power in the war.